Hey guys, David Patrick Green, davidpatrickgreen.com, actorpower.com, hackhollywood.com. I just have a little reinforcement of one of my other videos that I will try and post in the description below, and that is why it is really beneficial to do self-tapes whenever possible. So even if you're in town, if you can somehow offer a self-tape, come up with some excuse, you're out of town, you can't quite make it for the audition, whatever. But this is a very specific reason. I just had to do a self-tape yesterday, and I had to read for 4 separate parts, okay? And they were all part of a news broadcast, and they were basically 4 different people who were part of this news broadcast. Pundits, political pundits, if you will. And so I thought, okay, I have no problem doing that. Each one is slightly different, but how is the audience, how are the producers, directors, casting directors supposed to differentiate one of my performances from the other? Because I didn't want to get into a whole like Gary Oldman thing where I'm like, well, how's your nerve? Like, I didn't want to do a big character-y thing, but each one had a different perspective. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to help them out a little bit here. And I thought what I'll do is I'll just change my clothing slightly from character to character. And I had slight variances in the performance, and hopefully between the 4, and I think I validated that, they would get a slightly different flavor for each one. One is more of an aggressive, conservative kind of guy, so I didn't have a bow tie, but I was going to give him a bow tie. I basically, you know, sort of had him as a button-down, buttoned-up type. And then I did, the other guy was a little more on the liberal-leaning side, and I had him not wearing a tie and with kind of a denim shirt and a sport jacket, so just a little more sort of Harvard bookish. Maybe he would smoke a pipe in the 1960s kind of guy. Anyway, I did these 4 different parts with slightly different clothing options, and hopefully that would help casting just separate them and go, oh yeah, I see that a little more and I see that a little more. Because while everybody can say they have an imagination, it really does help to spell things out for people, paint the picture, so to speak. So this is something that I could not have done if I had gone in for an audition. Not only would I have not been able to change clothing, but imagine having to do 4 separate characters in the room without leaving. You know, it would be very challenging, and given the limited, of course it was an emergency as soon as possible type of audition. I got it on a Tuesday afternoon, and they said Wednesday at 4 p.m. by the latest, and that includes the submission. So, you know, it's enough time to do it, but to really come up with 4 separate readings, 4 separate characters, it would have been a challenge. Or let's just put it this way, it would have been more of a challenge to do it in the room, bang, 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 as opposed to the way I prepared it was, I prepared one of them and I recorded it. Then I went back and looked at the next one so I could get the first guy out of my head. And then I did the second one, changed my clothes a little. And when you change your clothes, it makes you feel a little bit different. And then I went and did the third one, and so on and so forth. So I did 4 of them, but I didn't learn them all 4 at once. I learned 1 at a time. Because in reality, you wouldn't have to learn the 4 characters at once, because you would never perform 4 characters at once. So, you know, 2 major advantages. 1, I got to change my wardrobe, and 2, I got to change the character without, I got to leave one character behind before I started the next one. Okay? So as far as I'm concerned, that gives me a huge advantage over a situation where I would have had to go in with the same clothing on and just go back to back to back to back. That would be very challenging because the lines were all similar, and you know, there's no one talking back to you. It's just sort of a little speech, and I find those particularly challenging, where you are just talking, and there's no give and take. I mean, you can imagine some give and take, but there isn't any, okay? So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you guys, why self-taping can be so awesome. And of course, I controlled my environment. Like, I actually changed the lighting a little. I did a little more shadow with one character than another. I think I even changed the stance. I put my hands in my pockets, then I had my hands on my hips. These are all things that, sure, I could have done them in the room, but would I have thought of it? Would I have kept my composure to do all four things? And to even think of all four things? Because when I did it, I was kind of coming up with stuff on the fly. So it's like, oh, it would be a good idea? Or I did it sort of this way, blah, blah, blah. And I thought, you know what? This guy's more of a demanding type. So I kind of felt like, I'm going to, wave my finger. We need to know what we are doing to stop this guy. That kind of a thing. So this is all stuff that I don't think I would have come up with in the room because, you're out of your comfort zone. You're in front of people. You feel the pressure of getting it done. Not that you should, but it's kind of natural to not stand around going, how should I do this next? There's not a lot of tolerance for that in the casting room. And, fair enough. They've got to see 50 people, so they don't have time for you to, how shall I do this? Right? They don't have time for that. So I feel that they don't have time for it, so I'm not going to give myself the time, right? It's just, it is what it is. I feel much more comfortable at home doing it myself. Of course, this is a great situation where I actually didn't even need a reader. So I was just like, bam, character, go learn the next one. Bam, character, go learn the next one. And I was done, and I felt really good about it. When I actually looked at it, I thought, yeah, there are distinct differences between each one, and I think the wardrobe changes helped. I wouldn't go crazy with the wardrobe. See, it's a fine line. Don't go from like, you've got a glued on mustache and glasses. Don't try and make the movie, but give them little hints that make their subconscious brain go to where you want it to go. For instance, if you dress conservatively, then they're going to go, oh yeah, that person looks like a conservative political pundit I've seen on CNN or Fox News before. And if you go a little on the Harvard liberally side, oh yeah, that looks like, a Fraser Crane type of guy with a tweed jacket and maybe a denim shirt instead of, white crisp button down with a monogram on his wrists. And a blue blazer with gold buttons, like a country club kind of guy. So anyway, I just thought I would share that with you guys. I just think it's a huge advantage, and this is one of the reasons why. And I just wanted to give you an example. So I hope you enjoyed this, and I will talk to you later. If you liked it, give me the thumbs up, share it, and please subscribe so that you can get more videos like this. We'll talk to you soon.